Hey, when you're using the AI like ChatGPT, it can be very helpful. You just have to be careful that you double check whatever you find. Okay, because for instance, I don't have an example lined up, but I'll show this sort of thing. Um, People might think I'm being mean when I say be careful listening to Chris Lucas, because I have people that would watch my channel that don't watch it anymore, but I see that when I go over to Chris's channel that they're watching his channel, and that I get upset because all of my criticisms of Chris are actually legitimate. I'm not mad and then lashing out, although I have gotten mad and I have lashed out, but not I don't lie about somebody when I make an accusation. They're not just me saying things that aren't true. Everything I've said about Chris Lucas is actually demonstratable. Now, if you don't want to hear that and you think that is just someone being mean, no, that's often what he's doing, I think, but I'm careful not to do that, to be just totally frank. Um, Everybody makes mistakes, but because I tried to show him carefully and kindly the kinds of mistakes he was making, I went on my way to make examples to try to show those mistakes. It's like you don't want to patronize somebody. I'm no expert whatsoever, but if I know something that someone else isn't getting and I can help them, I want to do that. But people don't. It's pride that hinders people, all of us sometimes. So one thing when you're using the AI, you got to be really careful to check everything, double check it. You can't rely on it to be true, because for instance, you could ask it, give me every verse in the New Testament for regarding the day of the Lord. And if you're familiar, or ask it a question you're familiar with, and then ask it a broad question with that that you're familiar with the general answer to. You can ask it, I've asked it, like, give me every verse about that mentions that something to do with the day of the Lord or the return of Jesus. And then it'll list a bunch of verses and say, there you go, all the verses. And then you check it, and then you're like, well, what about Matthew 24? Or what about Matthew 13? Or what at Luke 19? If you notice one, wait, wasn't this one about it? You can be more specific and get a better answer. But then I'll ask it, hey, I'll literally type into it, hey, you forgot this verse. Doesn't that count? And it'll say, yes, I'm sorry, you're right. That is one of the verses. So thinks, like, I've made videos about this, multiple videos. I've told him about it in person. And I've made demonstrating videos, which I'm going to show here. He had a guy come on who's an expert about it, who went into great, careful detail demonstrating it to him. And somehow Daniel 8 does not, and 9 do not have, Daniel 9 does not have the word kazon and mara in it, he says. The fact that you would say and post this and show your source is the AI, which is telling you, it looks like, that the word kazon and mare are not in Daniel 9's vision, is just flatly ridiculous. So the word kazon and mare do not exist in Daniel 9, he asks the AI, and the AI says, no, they do not. And it tells him the word kazon is only used in Daniel 8. Mare is only used in Daniel 8 and 10. Is this true? Is this true? The fact that you would post this thinking that this was right, after I've demonstrated it, I've directed you to people who are experts at it demonstrating it, that you can check yourself using any free tool, biblical tools online. How could you possibly make this mistake? You have to recognize your inability. I mean, I cannot. It's embarrassing that you would post this and lead people. I mean, the way you're posting that is though it's a fact after all the effort that's been given to demonstrate it to you. You're clearly showing your inability to do Bible study, because I don't know much about Bible study, but I know how to check that sort of thing. Why would you post that? And I mean this just technically. You're completely inept, and you're literally saying people are liars, and then saying a blatant lie that you didn't double check to people that are telling you the truth, and then you're posting it and making slanderous videos about these people buying, and you're actually the fraud. Literally, you are a fraud. You're in no position to make the claims you're making. You're posting false information, and you got to stop or humble yourself and learn stuff from people. Is the word kazon and mare in Daniel 8 and 9? Absolutely, of course it is. So I'm using Logos Bible software, the one that everybody uses, that is a theologian or a pastor, a sophisticated pastor at least. Not that you need this program to do Bible study. There's free programs on the internet. But here's Daniel 8 and 9. So I'm going to 9. Is the word kazon and mare in the Hebrew there? Let's see. Daniel makes his prayer. I mean, did you even listen to John from Angels in the Glen at all? I mean, were you even listening? Kazon and mare are the Hebrew words in Daniel 8 that are both employed. Kazon in particular. Kazon is used the first 3 times in the vision, that's translated vision. The first time mare shows up in Daniel, it's translated into the English word appearance, and it has to do with a man, the appearance of a man, the mare of a man. Then the angel tells him the kazon vision is not for you to know, but it's for the end of days, or something to that effect. And then the man says to Gabriel, this man that showed up, says, make him understand the mare. Okay, so we have 2 words for vision, and they're not used interchangeably. Daniel 9, he's praying about going back to Israel, and then Gabriel says, let's see, he's repenting for his people, and then let's see. While I was speaking and praying, confessing my sin and the sin of my people Israel, and presenting my supplication before the Lord my God and for the holy mountain of my God, while I was speaking in prayer, even the man Gabriel from Daniel 8, okay, in his first vision, whom I had seen in the vision at the beginning, referring to chapter 8, because that's where Gabriel shows up, in the immediate context. Okay, there's one vision there. At the beginning of, and then Gabriel's telling him, at the beginning of your prayers, the commander came forth, and I come to show you, you are greatly beloved. Therefore, understand the matter and consider well, here, I'll highlight them. Blue, underlined. Actually, I'll just make it really, oh, whoops. My bad. I mean, just highlight these. I always do that. Oops. Okay. Okay, so we have so he refers to Gabriel comes back that he had seen in the previous vision in Daniel 8. There's the word vision there. Okay. And then Gabriel starts talking to him, and he says, I've come to give you skill and understanding because you're greatly beloved. Therefore, understand the matter and consider the vision. This is Daniel 9. And then in the prophecy of the 70 weeks, starting in verse 24, 70 weeks are determined. Okay. And the last 6th thing, seal up the vision. in prophecy, or the fifth thing, and to anoint the most holy. The vision in the prophecy of the 70 weeks, those are the 3 times visions in Daniel 9. Why does it do that? Okay, so let's see what these words are. Chazon, same thing. You see that? So we can pull it up here. Let's see. The word vision, chazon. Okay. And the first 3 times, when Gabriel shows up with the vision in Daniel 8, and I can demonstrate this too, but I have in other videos. The first 3 times the word vision in English is mentioned within the beginning of the chapter, the vision he's having. It's the word vision is used 3 times. And it's this word, chazon. H-A-Z-O-N or C-H-A-Z-O-W-N. You can spell it different ways, but that's the same Hebrew word. Chazon, it's mentioned 3 times. The first time mare is mentioned is when there's a mare of a man that shows up. The mare is translated appearance there. The appearance of a man, the mare of a man. In the English, it just says appearance. So you don't even know that word is one of the words translated vision in the chapter if you're reading the English. From there on out, there's, I believe, 3 more times the word in English that's translated vision is mare. And at least 1 other time or 2 other times at the end of chapter 8, there's the word vision is also from the word chazon. So you get mare, and they're distinguished between each other because one is, because Daniel's asking about the chazon. Then there's the appearance of a man, the mare of a man, who then that man tells Gabriel, make him understand the mare. Daniel was like, what is this about the chazon? And the man, the mare of a man, the appearance of a man, tells Gabriel, commands Gabriel to make Daniel understand the not chazon, mare. And then the angel comes to him and says, or the man, or I forget which, approaches Daniel and says, and all these words are vision in the English, so you can't tell that, you just think it's the same vision. But the man says, make him understand the mare. Daniel had asked about the chazon. Then the angel tells him the chazon is for many days in the future. And the mare of the evening and mornings is true. And then you get more interpretation. And then we go into Daniel 9. So Daniel asks about the chazon. The angel tells him, tell him about the mare. And then he tells Daniel the mare or the chazon vision is for many days in the future. And then later in Daniel 12, that's sealed. That whole thing is sealed up for later. But the man tells Gabriel to tell him about the mare. And we go into chapter 9, where we are here. Then Daniel mentions Gabriel shows up, whom I had seen in the chazon, the one the angel said was for many days in the future. And that's like, shut that up, seal it up. And the man is telling the angel, make him understand the mare. At the end of chapter 8, he says, I didn't understand the vision, the mare. Then he mentions Gabriel comes back, the same one I had seen in the chazon at the beginning, meaning back in chapter 8. And then he says, hey, Daniel, I've come to give you skill and understanding. The beginning of the commandment came, or they came to show you, for you're greatly beloved. Therefore, understand and consider the vision. See, in the English, you just think, oh, yep, same thing, right? Guess what? This vision is mare, the same thing the angel had said to Gabriel, make him understand the mare, but the chazon is for many days in the future. Okay, so this word for vision here is the one the angel said is for the explanation in some sense. I'm trying to be neutral here. Chazon is used in the beginning of chapter 8. Then all of a sudden this mare word is introduced, and the man said, no, tell him about the mare. The chazon is not for you to know right now, basically. And then he mentions the vision again here in chapter 9. It's the chazon. So from the beginning of the vision, right? From chapter 8. Because he calls it the chazon. And then when Gabriel gives him the explanation, he tells him, hey, I've come to help you understand the mare, not the chazon. which is what he was told was for many days in the future. Then you get the 70, then he says, I've come to give you the understanding of the Mare, and then you get the 70 weeks prophecy. But from chapter 8, you can deduce, which people who agree and disagree with me, who don't have my interpretation, say the same thing. The Mare is some portion of or within the Cod zone. It's a piece of it. It's a part of it. It's within it. And the Cod zone is like kind of like the whole overarching thing, perhaps. And the Mare is part of it. So the angel tells him, I've come to give you the understanding of the Mare, and then he gives him the 70 weeks prophecy. So obviously the Mare, which is associated with the appearance of a man, and this man is literally commanding Gabriel of what to tell Daniel. I think that man is Jesus, by the way, who the person who would become Jesus, because the 70 weeks are about Jesus, and they're a part of the Cod zone, which reaches down to the 2300 evenings and mornings, and that's why they're years. Why? Because the Cod zone is 490 years long, and it's a portion of the larger Cod zone vision. Therefore, the Cod zone vision, which is the one about the 2300 evenings and mornings associated with the sanctuary being cast down, would have to be a larger time period than the Mare. But the Mare is 490 years. And the only way to falsify that is to say the 490 weeks, the 70 weeks are literal weeks, but we know they're not because they're associated with the sevens of years in based off like Leviticus 23 through 25. It's 10 jubilees, 490 years, 77s, 70 sabbatical cycles. Or 10 jubilees long, the 70 weeks. That's what that is, the weeks of years. So the 2300 evenings and mornings are the Mare, because the Mare is the 70 weeks. It says it right here. But you wouldn't know that if you just saw the English. The Cod zone is not to be understood until many days in the future. But the Mare, that's of the evenings and mornings, you don't have a starting date for it unless you understand it this way too, by the way. Because the Mare and the Cod zone have the same starting point, the decree. The Mare is the first part of the Cod zone. The 70 weeks are years. The 2300 has to be a larger time span because it reaches on beyond the other time prophecies. In particular, this one. They're connected because the Mare is of the Cod zone. It's of the evening and morning. The Mare of the evenings and mornings. The evenings and mornings are associated with the Cod zone, which it says 3 different times at the beginning of Daniel 8. Seal up the, guess what word it is? Cod zone. He's come to give him understanding, which at the end of chapter 8, I can read it actually. Let's look at that. Division. But no one understood it. He prays because this is about a temple. They don't even have a temple. They're in exile. They're wondering about the temple. He gets a prophecy about the temple being defiled, and he's in captivity with and hasn't even gotten word that they're going to go back to rebuilding the temple yet. What do you mean the temple's going to be defiled? You mean it was defiled? So that's why he's praying in chapter 9 about it, because he realizes the 70 years are almost up. So they can go back, maybe get the temple back, because he's praying about the mountain of our God, where the temple is, to restore the temple and the law of God. He's wondering, how can the temple be defiled when there is none? And he doesn't understand the vision other than that. He's been told that the sanctuary is going to be abomination and all that, but there is no temple. So now he's like, whoa, we're going to need a temple. And I don't even understand this. That's how the chapter 8 ends. Then he starts praying about it. And then he gets the thing. Jerusalem's going to be restored. When the decree goes forth to restore Jerusalem, there'll be 7 weeks and 62 weeks until Messiah the Prince. The city will be rebuilt. The temple's going to be rebuilt. And Messiah is going to show up from the decree to rebuild that temple you're wondering about, that I told you about, that would be defiled, that you don't even have word about yet. I've come to give you that word to start to help you understand the vision. And then he gives them the Mare portion. So the Kod zone has to be, because it's dealing with the temple and the 2300 evenings and mornings. It has to be longer than the Mare, because the Mare is a portion of the Kod zone. It's within that vision. And that connection gives you the starting point for both. So yes, Mare and Kod zone are absolutely, of course, in the Hebrew in chapter 8 and 9. And the way they're intrinsically linked and make the text coherent is crucial. And here you are making visions about how you know this and you know that about the Adventist church is wrong. They're making stuff up, and you don't even realize when a stupid AI, which you're misusing and you don't understand, you're putting way too much trust in that, but not from people who kindly wasted their time on you to teach you something. Shame on you. And then you disparage them behind the, on your channel and draw people to your nonsense. Shame on you. Repent, punk.